guess that's our cue. They knew it, man.
Hey, only on Charlotte Vibe when you get ready to go live does the siren start, because it's a great day in Carolina. Chris Jenkins alongside my co-host Andre Casseday.
Hey.
You see there's a little blank spot. That spot is going to be filled shortly by Rashad of Panther Nation Podcast, who will be joining us today. Hey. Let's go ahead and get these folks ready for this matchup as the Carolina Panthers prepare to take on the Atlanta Falcons. An NFC South rivalry at its finest. The showdown is about to happen. Let's go ahead and just get into it, right? What does the weather look like down at the stadium? What does the crowd look like down at the stadium? There were tickets.
Crowd? You talking about crowd? The only people that are out there right now are your CNPD folk and maybe David Tepper and his entourage of people. But, yeah.
You know, do you know how to, I'm going to, you know, I love doing impromptu stuff on the show. I'm going to try to switch to my phone. We are known for the impromptu stuff. I don't know if I can quickly find the link on my phone. I'm going to try to send a link to myself, and I'm going to show you guys what the crowd is looking like around us.
And while he does that, let me just say this for the record, too. Chris, we've been doing this for about 2 years now, a fast 2 years. I mean, this is time flies when you're having fun, right?
It does.
But every time we play those dirty birds, the Atlanta Falcons here in uptown Charlotte, it just happens to rain. Last year, Thursday Night Football, we were here in this very spot, in this very parking deck.
Was it?
Hey, an Easter egg for y'all if y'all know where we're at, right? But we were in this very spot with this very view, and it's dreary, wet, and a little cold. I'll say a little cold because I don't want to jinx it, because it's been calm so far. My hands are a little nippy, so we're just going to see how long that will go as Chris pulls up his impromptu angle and the scenery of it.
I think I got it going here.
Okay.
Let's see.
Now, are your hands jittery? That's the question of the hour right there.
All right, let's see. We're gonna
test this saying out, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, this is what we're looking at right now, folks. Some CMPD people down on the Mint Street, that team that resides on Mint and Moorhead. See a couple people walking into the stadium with some ponchos on. But hey, compared to what we had to deal with a couple weeks ago when we were last together, Chris, this is a light and day difference in terms of fanfare, in terms of the atmosphere. A little bit colder, a little bit wetter, but hey, we got you covered, folks. Charlotte Vibe's going to get you ready as we try to stay warm up in the.
Should we go ahead and show them where we are?
I say why. Why the heck not?
That's where we are.
Recognizable to some people who are regulars around here, right? On our YouTube channel.
Uh-oh, went to the wrong camera.
Again, impromptu.
There we go.
But we adjust on the fly, right?
Yeah.
That's how we do it around here.
All right, so let's go ahead and get you guys going. Let's give a few shout-outs to those people that are here, because we normally forget as we get going. So we have some members that we want to give some props to, some applause. Let's see, T. Green, appreciate you, man. Main reason why we need a dome.
Hey.
You want a dome? I
wouldn't be opposed to it, because by the time that we'll have a new stadium, Chris, you're going to be probably 60. I'll probably be in my early 30s.
You just hit a trigger. You know why?
Why is that?
Folks, on live TV, I'm going to tell my coworker that.
Oh, am I going to be put on blast?
I did not get a happy birthday from you. I probably didn't tell you.
Oh, man.
Come on. It was Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm so old.
You don't even know when your birthday is.
I got a lot of kids now.
Hey. But a belated happy birthday, man.
All right.
Belated happy birthday.
Proceed now about when I'm 60.
Yeah. That's what we're probably going to have this new stadium, whether it's a dome or not. And we may have to fund it, Chris, because, you know, our guy, David Tepper, seems a little cheap in those pockets. So, yeah, a day like today would be nice. I mean, Atlanta, they made that decision. Well, they already had a dome to begin with before Mercedes-Benz Superdome. But, hey, I would not be opposed to it, because we're going to be slightly older. We may have a couple of aches and pains and maybe some arthritis. So
I don't want that.
But it could be part of our future,
It could be part
man.
of it. It could be.
The man upstairs will determine that, right?
Yes, he will.
But it would be nice to be in some room temperature, climate-controlled setting, especially on a day like today.
You're a funny guy.
Good question, by the way.
You're a funny guy. T. Green, what's going on? Chris Mack, appreciate you signing in. Our members that help keep this thing going.
Yes. And
we appreciate it very much. So let's go ahead and get into this show. Get you guys ready for this Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers matchup. We're coming off that 3-game road trip,
right,
which was, Tennessee, Tampa,
New Orleans.
And New Orleans. We were 0-3 in that. Only one of how many teams?
I believe it was 1 out of 5.
Did you just cheat? You cheated. He cheated, but yes.
I believe it was 1 out of 5, but I did use a resource to enhance my knowledge, if you will, right?
1 out of 5 teams that in the NFL this season that had 3 road games in a row, and we were disasters in that, being over 3. But we're returning home to take on the Atlanta Falcons.
Got a coach fired. Road trip.
We did. We did get a coach fired during that road trip. We're playing the Atlanta Falcons for the second time this season. We opened the season. And, man, what a season.
What a trip that was.
It has been. The contrast to everything down in Atlanta. That first show that we did down in Atlanta, me and you, on the field, I think we had about 25,000 views for that pregame show. And we've dwindled now to where we're getting about 1,000 views, because understandably so. It's not because we're not doing a good job. You guys have liked us, and we appreciate you tuning into us each and every week. But all the optimism, all the hope is really out of this team. But
that hot air that was in that hot air balloon is now out and gone, and it's down in the ground.
Gone. That first game, even though we lost, 24-10 was the final score in that first matchup, there was still hope and optimism. And right now, we're just like waiting for this thing to get over. But we're going to go ahead and get you ready again for this matchup. And let's go over some of the transactions that have taken place. Andre, I'm going to let you take this over if you don't mind the transactions. These are the past 2 days. I'll throw in a few comments on those.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So there are 2 transactions that were made, most recent ones being Gabe Jackson, the 2 guards, Gabe Jackson and J.D. Dorenzo. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I believe I got that down, Pat. Both activated, from the practice squad via standard elevation. And then the other one was Hayden Hurst, back on the 15th, being placed on injured reserve alongside Justin McCray. He got hurt in last week's game, literally on the first play
of the game, yeah.
So those 2 guys' seasons are effectively over, as we're down to the last 4 games of the year, and you have to be on IR for a minimum of 4 games. So basically saying, hey, their seasons are done. And they also signed defensive end Chris Wormley to the 53-man roster in that corresponding move. So with Gabe Jackson, J.D. Dorenzo, those are going to be guys that are going to add depth to our offensive line, and the guard spots that have been, let's just be real, let's just be frank, as I would always say, right?
That's your favorite.
It has been a carousel and then some, with the amount of people who have been in and out of the lineup and those 2 respective guard spots. Of course, with the inactives being put out here within the next, say, half hour or so, we'll see how the lineup gets adjusted, or if there is going to be an adjustment with the starting 5 up front for the Panthers offensive line. But yeah, it's been a season for that position group.
Yeah, and tight end Hayden Hurst being placed on injured reserve. Let me clarify, because I really don't want this to come out the wrong way. I'm happy that he's on IR from the standpoint of him taking care of himself. Yes. I'm hoping that that's what it is, because he started practicing last week, had on the red jersey, and I know a lot of people are like, why is he out there? Because with his concussion that happened in week 10, I believe, I know it was against the Chicago Bears, he had amnesia. And I forget the exact parts of it, like he didn't remember up to, I don't know, like an hour after the game or something like that. I don't quite remember those specifics, but he had amnesia, and that's why it's been taking him so long to recover. And I know from the outside looking in, it's like, hey, football is a part of life, but it's not all life. You got a family, just go ahead and take it easy.
And before I don't want to cut you off here, but I'm going to have to. They are saying there is a buzzing sound with our audio. I'm looking at the comments right now, so They're saying we're getting some feedback on the audio, so I don't know if there is a tweak that we can make here rather quickly.
A buzzing sound and
I don't know how recent that comment was, but
all right, I'm going to let you take over for a second, and I'm going to check out the audio.
Yeah, so as he
we'll
makes
give you a little solo
adjustments,
view.
right? Hopefully it isn't anything too crazy, because we don't want people having issues with their hearing, right? Because that would be quite the detriment there. But to kind of get back to what Chris was saying, though, in regards to Hayden Hurst, that's a scary situation, right? With his concussion that turned into amnesia problems, not being able to remember what took place after the game. That's a pretty scary situation, and a situation that unfortunately can be the reality for some of these players. Not only dealing with concussions, which is a common reality now, but also the after effects or the major side effects of that concussion can cause things like that to happen. So for Hayden Hurst, it's been a disappointing season for him. For it to end this way makes it even more disappointing. But to be able to have him take a step back, prioritize his health, and to ensure that come next season he'll be ready to go at full force and full speed, that's reassuring that they made that move. And while he did practice last week and on a very limited basis, you do want to take the cautious approach. You do want to take that safe approach, because at the forefront of everything that the NFL does, what the Panthers do, and that goes for the other 31 teams in the NFL, we want to make sure that safety is always a priority, because there's life after football, ladies and gentlemen. This will be going on for 10, 15 years for some of these players, maybe even shorter than that. Okay. But in regards to that, though, you always want to make sure that these players are being taken care of. And I think Carolina made the right move and the right decision to say, hey, take a step back, do whatever you need to do to get healthy, and we'll move forward without you. And we just got a comment saying that it's not crazy annoying with the buzzing sound, but just pay attention. And okay. So yeah, we'll be out for a second here as we try to make an adjustment, so just stand by real quick. Mic check, everybody. 1, 2. People are saying that the sound is improved and better. T Green with a comment there, so thank you guys for verifying that, making sure that we are sounding good. Our guy Rashad has made his arrival here, so just double checking on the sound here and making sure everything is a go. And everybody is verifying that on the comments, so I think we're in a pretty solid spot. Feel free, Rashad. I am so glad that you are here today, my friend, because I saw your tweet this morning. I was like, man, the motivation levels were pretty low.
All right, so appreciate you guys working with us through that. And as always, you guys are like our production team assistant. So anytime that there's some, you're our independent third party production assistant. So thanks for letting us know about that buzzing sound. We killed the buzzing sound as a result. My good friend Rashad, even though he has a mic in his hand, is not active. So he's going to have to share the mic, with Andre Casseday. But we have the buzzing going.
Yeah, we should be good.
I think I stepped out, but you covered the part that we had on the transactions, right? So we're just going to keep going through it. Today's matchup, again, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers. In regard to today's matchup, we've got a few things that we want to talk about to get you ready. I may missed some things. So if you guys have
Okay.
some other things you want to add to it, feel free to. Hopefully, and it's rainy out there, so
Just a tad bit.
I don't
right?
know what's
Just a little bit.
just a little bit rainy. I don't know what kind of offensive plan that we're going to have today for the Carolina Panthers, but just want to talk recently about Bryce's performance and some things that we hope starts to turn around. He's been playing some pretty bad football lately. Now, it's not all on him, I will say that. Don't have a show long enough to talk about all the problems. I don't know if anybody will have a show before the end of the season that could talk about all the things, but we will just say it is more than just Bryce, his line, his receivers, his coaches, his play calling, yada, yada, yada.
Organizational things, right? Let's just put a tag to it. All organizational problems, right?
We just hope that Bryce gets a turnaround. Lately, he's hadn't had a game where he's cracked 77 on the passer rating in 6 straight games. That's a long time. Not playing too well. No TDs in 3 straight games. And this team has had under 20 points for the past 7 games, 3+ sacks, and at least 8 of the last game. So lots of problems for this Carolina Panthers team today. That's kind of like the bad news. But I bring that up to, again, this shows to get you prepared for the day's game. I think that you can maintain some mental health for this rest of the season as long as you are aware of what your expectations should be. Probably not going to watch the full game today, but if you do, just know, watch it and clean or do some other things because it's still probably going to be.
Go to church if you got to.
Yeah, a tough game for the Carolina Panthers.
Say a prayer.
Say a prayer. So those are some things on the offensive side for the Carolina Panthers. I don't have much things to look out for on the positive side other than Chuba Hubbard, who has been playing well.
He has.
He had the 100-yard game 2 weeks ago. Collectively, we had 200 yards, over 200 yards rushing. Last week versus the Saints. Will it continue today? I don't know. Field conditions actually, we talked about how wet it is. Nice constant rain, not too hard, but it's a nice constant rain.
Knock on wood, it stays that way, right?
But footing for the running backs will be important today. And last year, I don't know about what time it was when we played Detroit. It was so cold out there. A lot of players had some issues with it, but they had put out basically, I never saw it this week, but an oversized blanket was placed on the field most of the week to try to keep it warm to ensure some good footing and good conditions out there for this team. So that's the spill on the Carolina Panthers. Andre, you got some stuff about the Falcons
I guess I do. I guess I
few
do.
Tidbits.
Right? Obviously, Atlanta, they're in much better shape than where Carolina is right now. Sitting at the top of the NFC South, collectively a 3-way tie at 6-7. Crazy to think about, right? Second straight year in the NFC South, probably the worst division in football. That you could say that, right? In 2 consecutive seasons. Respectively, they played Tampa Bay last week, in which they lost, right?
Yeah.
They lost that game. Desmond Ridder had a pretty respectable performance for his standards. 350 yards passing. Drake London had 10 catches for 172 yards. And while they may not put that kind of output up today with the conditions and with the Atlanta Falcons being inconsistent, you could say, because look at their record, 6-7. You win one, you lose one. That's the definition of inconsistency, right? Consistently being inconsistent. So it'll be interesting to see how Atlanta comes out today, what their game plan is, really on both sides, because you're going to see a lot of running the football, I would imagine. 30, 40 carries. I would hope so in Carolina's case, because we don't need Bryce Young throwing ducks in this weather today. But ultimately speaking, Carolina's defense has played solid pretty much this whole season. And this 3-game stretch that they had, they did their part, right? It's the offense that continues to be the struggle. So on both sides of the ball, I am interested to see how Atlanta comes out today and what they try to do, because they're in a situation right now where they're in playoff contention, and they're the hungrier team of the 2. So just from that perspective alone, I just want to see what their mindset is coming out the gate here today.
Yeah, so there we go. Andre gave the Atlanta side. I gave the Carolina side. So we're going to throw it over to Rashad to say, now that we've given you both the Carolina side, the Atlanta side, Rashad, if you don't mind telling us, what do you expect to happen with this matchup, prime time, 1 o'clock, NFC South rivalry matchup today?
So, I mean, I've got to be honest with you, wasn't looking forward to this game. I wasn't going to come to this game.
What made you decide to come?
Listen, here's the deal.
You got to support the cause.
Listen, here's the deal. You can't say you were shooting in the gym if you're not in the gym, right? It's bad. We're down bad. The team is not good. But at the end of the day, this is the definition of keep pounding. Like, you got to continue to show up.
I'm going to cry over here, man. I'm going to cry. He getting emotional.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, like, it's bad. It's bad right now, and I get it. I did not want to come to this game. I had better things to do. It's the week of Christmas. You know, it's a lot going on.
Have you done all your shopping?
I have not. I'm just like everyone else. Right. So, I mean, again, I decided, hey, man, listen. Like you said earlier, it's about expectations, right? I don't expect us to win this game. But what you do look forward to is those little bright spots. You want to see Bryce Young, and again, the weather's pretty bad, so I don't expect to see them throwing the football like that. But you do, when they do throw the football, you want to see the connection with Mingo. You want to see stuff like that. You want to see if the young defenders that we have, Derek Brown, go to work. You want to see if JC can stay healthy, if he continues to put together a game like he did last week. Had a great game. So just looking at the games within the game to see if the coaching doesn't really matter, because obviously we're already fired, so that's not going to really matter too much. But you know, listen, I just want to see my guys get better. If we win, great. If we don't win, you know, are we winning the games within the games? That's all that really matters to me.
Give me something that you would like to see offensively, then give me something you'd like to see defensively.
Offensively, I would like to see, obviously in these conditions, you want to see us run the football. So another 200-plus game on the ground. See if Miles Sanders can get going. See if Chuba can get going again. Is that offensive line? I know we reactivated Gabe Johnson today, or Jackson. I can't remember his last name. Gabe Jackson, excuse me. He's a big body. So are we going to road grade and get it going, get the run game going? So, yeah, I want to see us. I want to see us run the football. That's kind of crazy. I want to see us run the football 200-plus yards. Defensively, man, can we stop the run? Right, because they're going to want to run the football. I think they can run the football. That's their thing. That's Arthur Smith's offense, is running the football, albeit they did put up a nice game in the air. It's because they had to. They were down. So the game plan changed a little bit. So are they going to be able to stop the run? We had some deficiencies stopping the run earlier in the season. It's getting a little better. Derek Brown having a monster season. So can we stop the run? Keep them under. It's going to be tough to keep them under 100 yards. I say keep them under 150 yards on the ground, because it's going to be a lot of running today.
You got a score prediction?
Score prediction? Man, I didn't really think about it. Low scoring. What was the stat on our scores? I can't go over a certain amount.
20. We haven't did over 20 and
so I don't see that happening today either. So I'm gonna go. Hey, listen.
Hey, 20, and he had only one touchdown in the past 3 or something like that.
Truthfully speaking,
he hasn't scored a touchdown
in 3 games. Yeah,
okay, yes.
So truthfully speaking, I think Atlanta gets the game. They have a lot. They're playing for playoffs. They're a lot hungrier than we are, as stated earlier. So I'm gonna go Atlanta 24.
Wow, that's kind of high.
It is kind of high. Let me take that back. Let me take that. I'm not 24.
Hey, but all it's going to take is a Bryce Young INT or fumble, so that's possible, right?
So
that's
I'm going to peel it back just a little bit. I'm going to say 20-10 Falcons.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not going to go more than 10, are you?
20-10 Falcons.
You're not going to, all right.
And I know that pains me to do that. I hate the Falcons.
But you're real.
But I'm being honest, man. It's not pretty, man. But I'm in the gym, so, hey.
We're here.
So we will have a bright spot. We're going to talk a little bit about Derek Brown, who has been a monster. I know Rashad should have some comments, because he was one of the guys that said be a little bit patient with Derek Brown. So let me know. I'm going to give you a chance to think about it. But let us know who else we may need to be patient about on this team. But I'm going to circle back to that one. Derek Brown has been the man. Big guy, big fella, plays with some speed and tenacity. Had a team-high 10 tackles last week playing against New Orleans Saints. That actually was good enough to be tied for the highest for defensive lineman last week with those 10 tackles. And last game in New Orleans, the performance that he put out there was a little bit historic for a defensive lineman. He was just the 3rd defensive lineman in NFL history to have 10 tackles, 1 interception, and a pass defended in a game. Now, that's a little bit of a stat guy that's being pretty smart there to find that. I won't lie, I had to find that. It was just out there. I said, that's pretty cool. He's been playing pretty well, but he's also doing extremely well for the franchise. I did not know this one. He's already set the franchise record for tackles from that defensive line position with, man, I don't have it right in front of me. I think it's like around 74-ish. I totally forget. I did not write that down.
But regardless, he's up there.
He's up there. He set the record already. And he only needs one more tackle to pass Chris Jenkins for 5th all time.
Not this Chris Jenkins.
Yes, me.
I can guarantee you that, ladies and gentlemen. Not this guy.
Not
right?
me? Gosh, man. I mean, I lost a little weight recently.
You got
but
more of a receiver build than defensive tackles. So, I mean, there's that.
But that's impressive. He was a first-round pick how many years ago? I know Rashad knows. 4 years ago?
2019, 2020.
Oh, you talking about Derek Brown?
Derek Brown.
28, 19.
And you know you got to give him a mic when he's talking.
No, I don't remember. So
don't give you the mic.
Don't give me the mic when I know the answer.
All right, but yeah, shout out to Derek. 2020. Will he make the Pro Bowl?
He should.
I don't know if he will, though.
He should?
I put in my votes. I'm doing my part.
Don't forget he doesn't have a mic, man.
I was going to say no. So DB should make the Pro Bowl. He's having a great year. And going back to your point, man, listen, with Derek Brown, I put out a whole video about Derek Brown and how he was on an upward trajectory, going in the right direction. Playing in the trenches is one of the toughest things for a college player to do. It's one of the toughest transitions because their bodies aren't quite prepared to go to work in the trenches. They've got to get their bodies right. And so so one thing I did was I went to the analytics. I checked the other guys that were drafted in the top 10, and I compared grades on PFF. And I'm like, man, Derek Brown is right. He's pacing. He's doing the right thing. So I was like, give him time. Year 3 is going to be his breakout. And so year 3, he broke out last year, and now he's starting to get better and better and better. So Derek Brown, man, he's doing an amazing job. He's right where he should be. He's, I think, probably at least a top 5 interior defensive lineman in the league right now. Unfortunately, he plays on the Carolina Panthers, so it gets overshadowed. But that shouldn't matter, man, because he's playing really good football.
Yeah.
Let me just say this too, real quick, right? So everybody that year wanted Isaiah Simmons. That was the other guy that people were like, oh, it's either going to be Derek Brown or Isaiah Simmons. And you look at the trajectory of those two players, and I think it kind of just speaks for itself. Obviously, with Derek Brown, it was an adjustment, like you mentioned, and it took a little bit of time because, that's a position that, coming from college to the NFL, it's a different mindset. It's a different, first of all, the bodies are bigger, the schemes are different. You're not just solely relying on athleticism, it's also technique as well. And to everybody out there, continue to leave those comments down there for us. We'll be getting to them here shortly. But, hey, he's going to get paid soon, right?
They already picked up his 5th-year option, right?
And his 5th-year option is either about to get picked up or has been picked up. So he's going to be due for that bag relatively soon. And unfortunately, with the trajectory of this team, that uncomfortable conversation is going to have to get brought up with him because is it somebody that we need to keep around, which I would totally love to keep around, but you got some issues on the other side of the football that you have to address. And unfortunately, and I know Rashad, I know you got something to say about this. I see it on the look of your face, but that's going to be a tough call to make, man.
Listen, I don't think this is tough at all. Like, Derek Brown is a guy that you have to build around. Okay. You got to keep him. Now, there's another player where it gets a little more uncomfortable, and whether you want to pay him or not, because whether he's bringing the type of impact that you would think others are bringing, in comparison to what you want, money-wise, right? So I think that Derek Brown, the interior defensive lineman, the top-end money is up there. Probably get around $20 million, something around that per year. And so I would get it done. Derek Brown is the guy you have to keep. The trenches, you have to start from the inside out, right? And so that's what we need to focus on. So Derek Brown, if I'm the front office, whoever the next GM is, I'm making a priority to re-sign Derek Brown and getting it done as soon as possible. We did pick up the 5th-year option, which is $11 million, so he's under contract next year. But yesterday's price is not today's price, so you want to get it locked in as soon as possible.
We're going to play a fun impromptu trivia here, and don't cheat. Don't cheat. Both of you guys are good at the history part. So earlier I mentioned about Derek Brown has already set the record for tackles by a defensive lineman. Right? Okay. So he's number 1. We got 4 more games to go. He's got 74 tackles this season. He's also the number 2 guy. Last season he had 67. So do you guys want to guess who the other 3 guys may be for the Carolina Panthers that were top defensive linemen that led in tackles.
I would say.
I have a question, clarifying question. When you say defensive linemen, are we talking about edge rushers as well, or are you talking strictly interior defensive linemen?
Edge rushers would be included.
Oh,
Okay.
So I'll give you a hint.
Pepper's got to be one of those, right?
Peppers is
Yeah.
currently fourth. He had 65 back in 2004. All right, so we've got.
short.
He will be pounding the drum today,
Shout
but
out
he
to
is
K1.
not part of that top 5.
I would say.
I don't think he played long enough.
I would say Charles Johnson.
Man, you're letting him crush
Big
you. He's
money.
beating you. Charles Johnson is the 5th guy. In 2010, he had 62. The one other guy I don't think you guys may get, but it was in 2002.
2002.
I was 2 years old.
He's a
It wouldn't be Ruck, would it?
man.
Mike Rucker?
He just swept you. We got to do this again. I got to give my guy a chance at coming back.
I told you, I'm in the gym. This is what happens when you're in the gym. I'm outside. So
See, here's the thing, too. Let me just say this for everybody in our viewing audience. I tried so hard not to look at this big old screen that this dude beside me had because, look, I'm an honorable and, let's just say, filled with integrity kind of dude.
So you were more consumed without not looking that you could really think.
I was so worried about looking at the camera that I was like, my brain decided to just fade out on me. But, hey, it's all good. And, hey, Chris, I got some news for you. We just got a super chat from our guy, Mark Burks. Let me go ahead and
you want me to cue the sound effects?
Yeah, let's get that sound effect.
There we go.
Super chat.
Super chat.
Hey, Mark Burks, my guy, you've been at it, man. We appreciate you. We'll pull up the comment there. This is Bryce Young's last legit chance to prove himself to the fan base. That's a take right there. Yeah. The expectations are low. Frank holding them back. Bryce Young holding us back. So that's kind of the narratives that he's putting in regards to his thought process in terms of Bryce Young's performance this season.
Let me come back to that one because I want one more fun fact, and then we're going to go into a lot more interactive stuff and free-flowing stuff as well as the inactives that will come out. But thanks so much for that super chat. Got one cool stat for you today. Don't do too many of these because I know people don't care and they're going to tune out. But this one,
I nerd out on this kind of stuff.
This one I thought
you're the trivia guy, right?
Was pretty cool. But it also indicates I guess how short the history for the Carolina Panthers is. They haven't been around that long. But Eddie Pinheiro only needs one more field goal to then come for 3rd most field goals in Carolina Panther history. Go ahead.
I think you know what? I think that's just a testament to how bad our offense has been over the past couple of years. I mean, that's incredible.
Did you know that?
I did not. I know Casey sits at the top of that, and Gano's probably second.
Gano's second.
Yeah, but
correct.
I mean, after that, both of those guys had long stints, and I would think there wouldn't be. I mean, that kind of makes sense, but I think that is a testament just to how bad our offense has been over the past couple. Plenty of opportunity.
Do you know who he's currently tied with? Who he's about to surpass?
Who he's about to surpass?
And it does not even seem right.
That's a good one, Mari.
I'll give you a hint. Swole guy.
Joey Sly.
Joey Sly.
Wow.
Joey Sly is currently
ginger. The bearded ginger.
He's currently tied with Joey Sly, who I feel like was only here a couple of seasons.
Wait. Is he still in Washington?
I think he's still in Washington. I really do. He's still in Washington. So
fire sale up there, ladies and gentlemen.
So
give it a couple weeks.
They're both at 54. Graham Gano has made 165. Who is currently injured. He's not playing for New York right now. And that was kind of strange. He got a new contract this year during the season for New York and then got hurt shortly after. And he's not playing.
The timing on that one.
Yeah, but he's had 165, and John Casey's at the lead with 351, so twice as many.
Okay, so my question to you, Chris.
Uh-oh. I'm the host. You can't ask me questions.
Well, this is a collaborative
It is.
thing,
All right. All right. Put me on the spot.
Eddie Pinheiro, how long has he been with the Panthers? Because this is the other part of the equation where it's like, wow, he's climbing up that list that fast? Yeah.
Let's see. Zane Gonzalez was here just 3 years ago, I feel like. I really feel like it's not even been 2 years. I really do.
Almost 2 years with this season.
Yeah.
With how he's already ascending. in this list. I mean, that's quite impressive, but also to get back to your point.
Sad. Yeah, it's sad is what it is. It's sad. Keep it a buck. It's sad.
Man, I'm trying to keep it positive over here, man. It's a season of giving.
We gotta be real. It's a sad moment.
Right.
All right, is that an active list out? Have you used my hand warmer yet?
I have not. I've been toughing it out, ladies and gentlemen. I've been using my pockets. I can guarantee you that.
I'm going to take it from you if you don't have it.
I mean,
you got it?
The list has not been out yet, or has not been put out yet.
All right, let's go ahead and go back to this Mark Birch super chat
let me get this drug deal
comment.
Rolling here, aka giving this guy his hand warmer, because I think we're
you don't need it
right now.
All right, so
I think I'm good.
We're going to go back to this super chat. Mark Birch talking about Bryce Young, last chance to prove himself.
Right
so
here.
I'll just toss it up to you guys. Is this the last chance? I don't think it should be, because he's just a rookie, his first year, and a lot of rookies struggle. And of course, you have the extreme end where you have the Peyton Manning talks of how those guys were. Lots of guys have been good, but I still think he's just a rookie 1 year, and he has a lot of bad things going on around him.
Right.
I've talked about his deep ball pass in terms of saying, I don't know where it is. I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but I haven't seen it, and so I don't know if part of that goes to the fact of a quarterback being ruined, right? Him being hit so much, him having his confidence shaken, which I don't think that you should be appalled if his confidence has taken any kind of hit, because you're in the NFL, right? You just came from Alabama, you came from all this success. It should take you, it should rattle you a little bit about the lack of success that you have. You may need an offseason. All right, let me recalibrate, get this thing back going, and be the person that I can be. But I'll throw that out there for you guys in terms of Bryce Young. Is this his last chance to prove himself? And is he about to just be stuck in the rut of just being an NFL starting quarterback that's just okay?
I'm going to say no, just because of the timing, right? It'd be fair to ask that question this time next year after Thanksgiving, because really you're going to give your guy, if you feel like he's legit, 2 to 3 years of a leash to try to figure things out and try to adjust himself and acclimate himself into the NFL and everything that comes in between it. I will say, yes, it has been a disappointing season for Bryce Young, despite all the narratives, despite everything that's happened around him. I do feel like, he needs to show that he can at least try to carry a team on his back. You're a number 1 overall pick. You're a guy that they traded up for. So there has to be some level of expectation in that regard. But I'm going to give this thing time, because really we don't have any other option right now with how much investment we have made in Bryce Young. But, hey, if we are at this point next season and there hasn't been no noticeable improvement, no noticeable jumps in play, then that is a very valid question. But I'm not going to rush to judgment right now, because, again, things take time, and we live in a microwave society. We're going to let this thing boil and simmer in the slow cooker, and by next Thanksgiving, we'll have a feast.
Now, as you throw that mic over to Rashad, I will say this. He does have some stuff to prove.
Yes, he sure
does.
does.
He has not shown me anything of flashes of greatness. He's done some things, but I haven't been impressed with him yet. So I do feel like there's still some things for him to prove. And again, I still want to footnote that he has had a lot of things going against him in order to play good.
Yeah, I think we got to – I get it. We traded up for him, number 1 overall pick. Expectations are high, but this organization has simply failed Bryce Young, right? I mean, you fired his coach, the coach that, was handed a team that, we thought we had all the answers, right? Scott Fitterer went on record and said, the offensive line is set up, the defense is set up, and then you throw in a head coach that completely goes away from what was good last year under Wilkes. And so I think we have failed Bryce Young, and so I think it's not fair it's unfair to rush judgment right now. Wait till we get a new coach.
Is it fair to say he has been a disappointment?
I mean, yeah, in isolation, yeah. I mean, of course you could say that in isolation, but that's not how the NFL works. You have to be supported in totality. You have to have the weapons. You have to have the offensive line. You have to have the scheme. You have to have support from the ownership to get you the right people.
And look at C.J. Stroud last week.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Look at C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud did not look good at all last week because all his weapons were gone. So you strip back the weapons and you get exposed. And so Bryce Young right now is getting exposed. The hope is that we correct, because y'all know me, it starts at the top. Until the top gets everything else right, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter who's calling plays. He has to get it right. GM has to be in place. Coach has to be in place. So yes, we're all disappointed in Bryce Young play, absolutely, because that's what the layman fan sees. We want to see the X's and O's on the field. Unfortunately, that's not how the NFL works. There's so many layers to this. We don't have enough time to peel it back. But trust me, once you start peeling back the layers, you'll find out this organization is a complete mess. I want to use another word. It's a complete mess, okay? So I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to actually let you let Rashad continue to hold the mic for a second.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pass you the mic so you can go ahead and go over this inactive list for the Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons.
All right, let's do it, everybody. So that list is out. So let's jump right in. So we have cornerback Deshaun Jameson, outside linebacker Iku Leota, offensive tackle David Sharp, tight end Ian Thomas, receiver Mike Stryken. That's an interesting one. Strawn?
Yeah, Strawn.
Strawn, okay.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, one of the few times I will have an enunciation.
I was going to say, and I was going to give you so much props.
Right.
You absolutely did an excellent job on Leota's name. I was like, man, you're doing a great job with the pronunciation.
This is why we're a team around here, ladies and gentlemen. We can't do it by ourselves. Same thing with Bryce Young, to go back to our previous point. And receiver, Terrace Marshall Jr. So this is now, what, game 5?
5 in a row.
As a healthy stretch. So let me go ahead and go over it one more time. Cornerback Deshaun Jameson, offensive tackle David Sharp, outside linebacker Iku Leota, tight end Ian Thomas, wide receiver Mike Stryken. Strawn.
It looks nothing like it.
Absolutely does.
Nothing like it.
Y'all roast me. It's all good. Right? And wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr. are your inactives for the Panthers today. Yeah, this dude's done.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real here. Let's be frank, right? This dude is done.
Yeah.
I mean, and with Strawn, Mike Strawn, also not being in the lineup today, that's also another reason why you could say Terrace Marshall is done. I mean, this is – I don't want to go too far into it because I know we have limited time, right? But, I mean, what else is there to say about Terrace Marshall right now? I mean, this is a relationship that has failed. It's not collaborative anymore. I don't know if they're on speaking terms. This is like an ex-girlfriend showing up to the man's house and just, taking up space.
Yeah.
So
taking up space.
My one question before I let you guys talk about this, and I don't know if you guys will know, but with Strawn and Marshall out, 2 wide receivers. So who did they need to put some numbers at? Did they need to do it on the line, or where did they go?
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably says it if you scroll up and read, but it's very interesting.
So they're going to be rolling with 4 receivers. Amir Smith,
Run game.
Run game, yes. Being that 4th receiver alongside Thielen, DJ Chark, and Jonathan Mingo, which is not going to scare anybody on any given week, and especially today with the conditions out there. So, yeah.
I think we're all staring at that list trying to do a little bit of more analysis on why you did that.
Right, yeah. I think the idea was to bring up another offensive lineman to help in the run game. So it says Gabe Jackson is going to be brought up from the practice squad, and JD. I'm not going to butcher. Listen, you pass it along this way, but they elevated another offensive lineman. So again,
but this was the lead sentence. The Panthers are loading up on offensive and defensive linemen today at the expense of receiver depth, meaning that they are going to be running the ball today, ladies and gentlemen.
And trying to stop the run. So running the ball and trying to stop the run. That's exactly right. So I know Brian Burns was also banged up, and he's not on the inactive list, so that's good. He's going to be playing.
He was questionable.
Yeah, it was questionable coming in, so it's good to see that Brian Burns is going to play because we're probably going to need him today against that Falcons offense.
All right, so we'll move on to a few other things, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We've got about 15 minutes left. I don't know how you guys are holding up. I'm actually holding up well with the conditions. We'll do another shot.
You say that there was a very massive breeze that just flowed
Did
in
I?
my direction.
Well,
so,
maybe is it coming left to right? Can you guys tell?
it's definitely left to right. If it's
Yeah,
coming
so-
from Rashad's direction, I'm getting the hit of it as well.
Yeah, see, and we did this
Right.
perfectly because Rashad's a little bigger than both of us here, so he's blocking the wind. And by the time it gets to me,
He's giving us some insulation right now, and I need all this insulation that I can get at this rate right now.
but before we get out of here, I'll give you a view of what is dang. The rain just hit me right in the eye. But of the 24 people that's currently heading to the stadium.
Empty stadium today.
Hey, let's briefly talk about a few things as we look back in this week that happened in
Doing a
football.
lot of looking back with how this season has gone.
No,
this
we
season.
won't look that far back. Just this week's headline. So we have some competition for David Tepper to find us a new head coach, right? So previously we had the Las Vegas Raiders with an opening, and we currently have the Carolina Panthers with opening. And then after a very big drubbing, the Los Angeles
That's
Chargers.
a word.
Drubbing. Los Angeles Chargers have an opening, and many think that the Los Angeles Chargers opening will be the most appeasing or appetizing, luring, whatever word I can't find right now, most attractive. There you go, I finally got it. So competition for the new head coach, and there's not too many offensive-minded people out there that are going to be in position to be that coach. But just want to throw it out there in case you guys had any comments about that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So easily here, like this is what we're talking about. And see, this is another thing that fans don't seem to get. They just like this. They see these names go out there, and we just get them. Like they're gonna want to come here,
Right.
and it's so easy just to convince somebody to come coach the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
That's not the case. Let me set the table here for you, and I'll let you pick where you want to coach. Right?
Table setting.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go to Charlotte, where it's raining, it's out here, it's pretty cold, or do you want to go to L.A.?
Small market, big market?
Yeah, small market, big market. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go where you got a solid quarterback in Justin Herbert, pretty solid roster, or do you want to come to Carolina where you gotta basically rebuild everything from the ground up? You can drop a coach that can figure it out immediately over there and have success. That team is okay. It's decently set up. So
What about that stadium?
The stadium is nice.
So,
I didn't
SoFi,
even go
right?
The SoFi Stadium didn't even cross my mind.
Was it $2 billion, $3 billion? No, I think it was more than that.
Something up there, man. Just a lot of money in LA.
I'm going to LA.
Yeah, exactly.
He's out.
I'm going. So when you pick where you want to go, coach, and that's the thing that people tend to miss, and they don't understand that there are other options out there, and we're not going to be able to get the best guy. You can't. There won't be enough money to throw at people. There's only going to be so much money that's going to, at some point, money's not going to be a thing.
Is Las Vegas even more attractive?
Absolutely.
Are you about spitting up there?
Where do you want to go? I'd go to Vegas.
I got some people that live in Vegas, man.
I'm not handing you the mic, man. I'm just giving you haven't you seen interviews where they go like this?
Hey, regardless of the fact, though, man, this feels like a press conference right now, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I should be the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders and turn some things around. But, yeah, y'all make some good points. I can't come up with a rebuttal. The only rebuttal that Dave Tepper's going to have is those thick pockets
That's
of his.
it.
But those thick pockets are awfully cheap. They are awfully cheap. You can't get something built down in Rock Hill to support your situation with training camp. Oh, we got to pull out because, they're going to uphold their side of the bargain. Those pockets are thick, but they are awfully tight and cheap. So that's all I will say in that regard.
Yeah, all the owners have billions or close to it. Like everybody can cut a check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not about money, and we have a rich owner. So what? Look at where it's gotten us. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? It hasn't gotten us anywhere. So that's what makes it so frustrating. And I think we're in for a long. And hopefully he can strike down. He can strike gold somewhere, right? Hopefully we can find somebody that's willing to come here and do an excellent job. That's all we have is hope. And unfortunately, he's not going to sell the team, right? So you got to hope that he lands the right GM and the right coach to get things back on track. That's all we have.
My scary part about the future for this Carolina Panthers franchise is that will David Tepper do something different when he hires that coach? That's my fear. Yeah, he has the pockets. He could offer somebody a crazy amount of money, but is he going to offer the right guy that crazy amount of money, right? Because if he doesn't, then we're going to have that trickle-down effect that Rashad talks about is if he doesn't make the right move at the top, it's going to trickle down to it doesn't matter who the players are. It's just not going to work out well. And that guy that he brings in here, you know, he's going to have to be exceptional. The coach and the GM will have to be exceptional because they got a lot to turn around and they don't have many resources to turn it around with. So it needs to be a plan that is going to work, and there's a plan that's, you know, a 2 to 3 year plan. And if you pick the wrong guys for that, I mean, you can't kick those next guys out after 1 year. Because I don't care who they are. Again, we don't have any draft picks. We don't have a number 1 draft pick. I think it's third round.
So we have a second.
We have a second round
this year.
All right. It's going to take a good plan to do that. And if you don't have the right person.
Out there who wants Bill Belichick here in Carolina, what he just said right there is the exact reason why you don't bring Bill Belichick here to Carolina. Dude's going to be retiring in, 3-4 years? He may just say, screw it, we're done now after he gets fired by the Patriots, which is more than likely going to happen. So, for one, you need to have people who know what they're doing. 2, you're going to need people who are innovative and smart and young, because this is going to take at least, at a bare minimum, 3 years to get this ship turned around. This foundation that we have right now does not exist, and this season is the perfect setting and reason for, all the issues combined into one. That's what this season was. All of the past issues and all the issues that we're seeing this year combined into one. That's why we're 1-12 right now. So it's going to take time. It could happen quickly. I hope it happens quickly. Miracles do happen. We're here, but
it won't take much to be better than this year, though.
It won't.
Right?
Listen,
it just won't take.
We got to stop saying that because, listen, we thought the bottom was Matt Rule.
Come on, Rashad.
I'm just saying, hey, listen, things can be worse. We cannot win a game at all. It can be worse.
Hey, we could be the Charlotte Hornets right now after losing by 50-plus points, but I'm not going to bring it up.
Hey, we're gonna end on this one, and we're gonna have to come back because I don't feel like we can have this conversation in full because the season is not over. So you might know where I'm going. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this being the worst team in Panthers history, right? So we have the 2001 team that was 1-15. We have the. Why are you laughing so much?
I just saw my man Mark pop up again.
Oh, okay.
He just left another super chat. He's been awfully generous. He had a pretty nice comment.
All right, we'll get to it.
Rashad is cackling over there.
2010 team 1-15. I'm sorry, 2001 team 1-15. 2010 team 2-14.
Yep.
The 2023 team is currently 1-12. Any thoughts from you two on the work? So I will confess this, as I have avoided a lot of questions by being the gracious host today, but I had a lot of equipment to set up. I've been covering this team for a while. I was covering it during the 2010 season, but I wasn't as glued into it doing the everyday reporting now that I was doing back then. I will say for me, since I've been covering this team heavily, I'd say heavily for the past 8 years.
You're building it up, man.
I'm building it up. This for me feels the worst that it's ever been. Being in that locker room feels the worst that it's ever been.
Ping pong.
I know I gave a shout out, and I actually texted my man Pat Coltrane because he retired from covering the team. Because I remember when he retired, I'm like, how could you be so mentally exhausted from this? Like, I don't know. Like, I get it. There's passionate people. I know I do this for work, but I'm like, how could you get there? This week for me, was my birthday. I missed one day because of the birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. But then the next day I was like, I'm just going to take another day and just kind of get together for the weekend and, get together for the rest of the season. But it's just, as I look at it, it's like this offense has just nothing to offer. Nothing. There's nothing to offer. So it doesn't matter who we're playing. We're going to put like 7, 10 points out there, no matter who we're playing. And defensively, it's a good defense, much better than you thought it could be. And I actually give Ivero and the defensive staff a lot of credit because even though you've been a strong point, how could you not break at any point where you're like, we've been giving this team a chance, but like, I don't care anymore. It's like, I'm just ready for it to be done.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that, so I go to give the defense a lot of credit. But I'll go ahead, since we're running out of time. Worst team of all time, 2001, 2010, or current?
No, this is, in fact, the worst team. I don't care how many victories they get or if they happen to get 2 or 3 more. It doesn't matter. This is the worst team, and I've been a Panthers fan since the beginning. I was in college when this team started. Right. Well, not started, but when we went to the first Super Bowl, I was in college, right? So I've been following this team for a long.
Shout out to that college. What college?
At North Carolina A&T State University. I don't know if the band is playing, but they're supposed to be playing at halftime. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Aggie Pride. No, A&T. A&T's band is supposed to be playing.
Okay.
At halftime. I don't know. I don't know if they're.
He would know.
I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if
it.
they're going to because of the rain, but they're
Right.
supposed to be performing. They are national champions, best band in the land. So real quick. But, yeah, this is, in fact, the worst team I've ever seen, considering all the circumstances, with the draft pick, trading up. There's, at least in 2010, in 2010, we knew John Fox was going to get fired. We knew Jimmy Clausen wasn't the answer, but we had Cam or Luck coming in at the time, right? So things were going to get better. Even back in the day, going further than that, like, there was always some sense of hope. With this ownership in place, I don't know if I don't trust him to make the right decisions to make things better. I just can't. So to me as a fan, it may be recency bias. I may be guilty for that, right? But this is got to be the worst team. Worst team. 2023.
I'm going to have to concur with the both of y'all there. 2001. I don't remember 2001. I was a year old, ladies and gentlemen. 2010, I remember pretty vividly because that was probably the first season that I watched as a fan. And that was a rough year, but you had something to look forward to. You knew there was going to be some new people in the building. You knew that there was going to be either an Andrew Luck or a Cam Newton. So you had that to look forward to. Fast forward to 2023, and I've gotten a little bit older and a little bit more mature. I have a better understanding of life. Right? I feel like I didn't bring any gloves or any hat. I got an umbrella, so we got that part of it covered. But I feel like I'm in a midlife crisis at the age of 23 years old. And part of that is because of whatever the heck they put on this field. I can't even call this team out by its name. That team that resides on Mint and Moorhead. I can't even call them by their name anymore because of how things have turned for the worse. All the optimism, all the hope, all of the energy that was there, that was in South Carolina, in Spartanburg. You were down there for all 14 of those days in that beaming hot sun. Yeah. Everybody was excited. You were excited. I was excited.
In the gym.
And we bought into the narrative that this is all we needed was a quarterback and the roster was built.
That was what we were sold.
That was what we were sold. Boy, were we fleeced. We were fleeced, robbed, led astray, highway robbery. Scott Fitterer, have fun getting out of here because me, oh my. This has been a year. This has been a humbling year, to say the least. I don't want to say yes, but I have no other defense to not say yes. So, long story short, God bless you, Carolina Panther fans, because the loyalist people out there right now, hey, we're trying. We're trying.
There are only a couple of us. And like I said, it goes back to being in the gym. You can't be out here when and if we happen to get to a Super Bowl again, right?
In our lifetime.
You got to be able to deal with the down times, right? And so you got to be out here. You got to be in the gym. You got to keep pounding. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to continue to support, even though I'm not a fan of the ownership. I don't like the direction that we're going. You still got to, hey, listen, you can pick another team or you can keep pounding. That's why I chose to keep pounding, so that's why I'm here.
Let me give a little perspective on this current question. I'll just hold his mic because I'm going to let you guys in. Okay. I'm going to show the screen there. But perspective on this question about the worst teams 2001, 2010, or present. Here's something that's in common with all these teams, courtesy of Joe Person over at The Athletic.
Okay.
Rookie quarterbacks have been at the helm for those seasons.
Wow.
So we currently have one there. Yeah, rookie quarterbacks. And kind of supporting this as being the worst team of all time. We have been behind in, I think, about 85% of the plays for the season, which is the worst historically. I think that's a crazy stat for somebody that dug out there and got that. So I don't know where Joe got that from, but I saw that from Joe Person at The Athletic. So just some backstory to that. So I'm going to let you guys have the mic here. We're going to go to this camera view of showing the fans.
Yeah, it's nice.
Here. Give me a second before I.
This is a great view, by the way. Like, if it was a nice day outside, I mean, this view is amazing. Great little backdrop. Got the Christmas tree right there. Bank of America Stadium, where sad football is played, unfortunately.
And let me just say this, too, for everybody that's listening. I didn't have much expectation for the fanfare. This has exceeded any level of expectation that I had coming in. I mean, there's there's nobody out here.
Yeah, there's not anybody
I'm not
out
even going to try to put a positive spin on it.
This is a dry game day, for sure.
I mean, going to go to the other side.
Yeah, so.
And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have come if my seats weren't where they are, because my seats happen to be covered.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm right under the, under the overhang. So
that
my
helps
seats
out.
are going to be dry. I have access to the Silver Club, so I can go inside and watch if it gets too cold. But yeah, it's light out here. Maybe a couple thousand people here,
right? If that.
It's a sad day. And listen, I hope David Tepper and folks. People, and I know there's some relations folks. I hope you guys see this, because this is what you built. This is what it is, man.
And I keep bringing up the Charlotte Hornets for reasons that are beyond me, but this may be even worse than a Charlotte Hornet game in terms of attendance. Am I just being overreactionary when saying that? I could be, because I'm a very emotional guy right now with how things have been this season. But it is quite light. The rain isn't quite light. Hopefully it stays a little bit lighter than this, because we're going to be walking in these elements here rather shortly. But we hope we don't get that monsoon that we saw back in 2011 in Cam Newton's first win against the Jaguars. Do you remember that game?
I do remember that game. I don't think it'll be that bad. But
let's hope not.
It's giving me Colts Monday night 2015.
Oh,
yeah, that's what this kind of game is. It was raining, cold. That's what this kind of environment feels. And although that was a night game, this is what it feels like. It's not pretty out. It's cold. The mist, it's like a little mist. It's more of like annoying. It's not even like really raining. It's
like you're in the mountains. Right
yeah,
now.
It's like a mountain rain, a mountain mist is what it feels like out here. But it's pretty cold. And so yeah, hopefully we can ground and pound, run the football, and hopefully get a victory.
And that is the keys to today's game. With that being said, everybody, we are at the top of the hour. Thank you for tuning in here at Charlotte Vibe, and our special guest, Rashad from Panther Nation Podcast. Continue to check his content out. Him and Dave holding it down on their end of things. But for everybody out there, enjoy today's game. Try to, at least. On behalf of Chris Jenkins, I'm Andre Casseday for Charlotte Vibe.